Welcome to Village in Motion this Thursday, August 22nd. I am Clint Lambert, and I have the pleasure of being the host today of Village in Motion, and we're going to be talking about the Elections Committee and what's going on with elections to the Resident Council, and also we'll be talking about communications and what goes on with communications via the Resident Council. But on my left, I have with me this morning Ives, and Ivan is our Resident Council liaison to the Resident Life Committee and is our chair of the Elections Committee. And we are so glad to have you with us, Ivan.
That's about it. Yeah, just finishing up my term on the council, and as an extra honor, I get to chair the election.
Well, that's one of the things that you get to do before you go out,
that's
right?
About it. And we're looking for a lot of people. We have six slots to fill this time. So we need people to help us very, very much on that. Mm-hmm. And when we're talking with people, they're always saying, well, what is it all about? Yep. What do I have to do? How long does it take? These kind of things are going on. And we try as best we can. It was okay. The requirement, is that you at least have lived in Green Spring for about a year and served on a committee of the council, so you get some idea of what's going on in there. So those are the basic requirements. And then there are other things that you get in.
So 1 year of residence at Green Spring.
1 year of residence before you actually take office.
Okay. And then one committee of having served on a committee.
Right, of the various committees in there listed. And the people will be asked for the committees they like to serve on. That'll come as a part of the process, but that'll be about the middle of November.
So, but initially you do not request a particular committee?
No, you are simply elected to the council. And then the council organizes itself, selects its officers, and then the liaisons are appointed to the different committees. And so a lot of times when they say, well, what's the workload? I say, well, basically, you have to have 4 meetings every month and whatnot. And then it depends on what committee you're the liaison to. Because some have heavier workloads, some have a little bit lighter workloads. So that will make a difference as to what the total time is on it.
When the committee is looking at recruiting people and bringing people on for the election, can people advertise the fact they're running? Can they campaign? Can they do any of those kinds of things? Well,
we like to know that they are even interested. That makes the job easier for us. But otherwise we just ask them if they would consider serving on the council itself. And if so, then we need to have them fill out what is called a self-nomination form in there. And that one essentially says, the person says, yes, I am willing to be elected to the council. And then to emphasize that we're talking about something that is campus-wide, we need the recommendations for the individual from somebody at each of the community areas. Just as a reminder to us, we're dealing with the whole thing.
But when you say recommendations, is it in fact they have to write something?
They do sign their name on the form.
Oh, saying that they agree for this person to run.
Yes, they would support this person as being a person who should be elected to the resident council.
So anybody running should get at least 4 votes.
Yep, that makes it a lot easier that way. So that's kind of where we are right now, is looking at the people who would be able to do that, whether it be members of different committees, if they seem to be able to handle something more than just the work of that committee, but to think more in terms of the whole campus and the various needs in there. Otherwise, if someone is particularly interested in one area, then we'd say, good, why don't you serve on a committee that just deals with that. But if you're on the council, you have to be a little bit broader scope on that one.
So you don't need to go in with your own agenda just for yourself.
Hopefully that's the case, that you would be able to handle the desires and the needs and think in those terms.
So it's thinking campus-wide in the best interest of all the residents. So they get a form, they fill it out,
Yep. In fact, they might be able to bring up that form so that people can see it. It's a resident council nomination form. They may be able to bring up on the screen, and so they can actually see it and the different forms that they put on there.
Where will they get the form?
The form, we'll be glad to supply that.
Okay.
In multiple, if they need it. But anyway, there's a copy on the screen of the self-nomination forms where you can see it. And that is available from anybody on the election committee. And you just say the word, and we will get you those forms, as well as all the information on the council itself. We usually tell them the best way that I find is say go to the village bridge to the section on the resident council, and there's just tons of information on there as to what the council is, the different committees, the responsibilities of the council. Great source of information. They've done a beautiful job on that.
And in the past, I know we've had individuals who've run for the council who've actually gone back and read all the minutes prior to them running.
That is true, just to get a feel of what's been going on. And that's getting easier now. More and more is digitized and available on your computers, so you can look and see what the action has been, what the concerns have been for the last number of months, year, 2 years, or further back if you want to go back there.
The form for nomination to be considered to run, right?
Yep.
Does it involve anything on the applicant's part? Do they need to do anything?
They need to provide some basic information on their biographical, the work history, something like areas of interest, and there's a form that is a part of that whole package. And it says, well, here's the types of information we need, and 1 page, please. We don't need the whole life history, but we do need that and the areas and the skills that they would bring, so that that would be important as the people are looking at that and saying, okay, here are the skills that would be valuable, and we would appreciate them serving in this capacity.
Okay. And you would hope that after they do their 1 year and do their membership on a committee, they would understand the importance of being broad and general in regards to their approach.
And be able to see the relationships, what happens when the ideas and the recommendation, how do they flow from the committees to the council, to the administration, and see that flow. This is how we get the work done. And the council, really, we're familiar with decision-making groups. This isn't one. This is an advisory committee.
And that's very important to point that out.
It sure is. And so there's our stock in trade, our observations, recommendations, suggestions, those kind of things that we can feed to the administration. And they are very anxious to get this kind of input in there. And so you can really have quite a bit of impact on the community, not in making direct decisions. Decision made our administration and board of directors. They're the people that have that responsibility, and they get the flack when things go, which I am very happy. I don't have to handle a lot of that stuff. So that's kind of the way things flow as we get in there. So that we need to have those nomination forms in by the 14th of September.
14th of September.
You'll have the boxes at the front desk of each of the community, and we need to have those in so then we can proceed with the other parts of the process.
So that's about 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, it's fast. We get. The election won't happen until the 1st through the 7th of November. But in the meantime, the committee needs to interview the different candidates, get an idea of where they could best serve. They report out to the council. The council will get a chance to introduce the candidates to the residents that we have there. You'll be helping with the particular interviews that will be used on Channel 6.
Well, which is nice. I mean, it's been my pleasure to do that over the years.
And this is great so that people can have that way of having the time to get the information to think it through before they hit the time of the voting. So we'll be doing that, as I said, the 1st through the 4th of November, and then about the middle of November, then the last part of the whole process comes out. This is where we go to the residents, say, here are the committees that we need help. What would be your desires? And we gather all of those up and give them to the president of the council, and they kind of sort out as to how they can best use the needs and try to give the people somewhat close to their desires, but still need to try to fill the whole bill.
Exactly. And what's so nice about that is that there's over 100 people who have volunteered each year for a number of years to participate.
Yeah. So we have much easier time getting people for committees than we do for the council. So right now I'm saying, please, if you're willing and able to look at the council, that we really need to know right away. So
but I don't think people really realize just how much knowledge you can gain by being a member of the council.
Yeah, it's tremendous learning experience.
It really is, and you begin to understand about Green Spring, about Erickson, about the whole dynamic of continuing care retirement communities, and it's nice to be able to give your input and make your suggestions and things that you've heard people say and people have talked to you about. By you being on the council, you can share all that.
Yeah. It was great for me to be able to be a part. We went up to Oakcrest and looked at the facility that is a little bit ahead of us in this whole process of redoing things.
Exactly.
And to see how it has turned out there, some of the possibilities to be here. And that was tremendously helpful.
Great.
In there. So I'm looking forward to the finished product whenever we get it done.
There you go. Very good. Well, Ivan, thank you so very much for sharing that in regards to it. And I'm not going to let you leave the set because we're going to be talking about communications next with Sarah Plumb and talking about what's going on with that. And you're involved in all that.
In one way or another.
Yeah.
but I'm glad to have Sarah here.
Yeah. Sarah, you're welcome. I'm glad you're here with us this morning.
My pleasure.
And you are also a liaison, right? Or you're just a chair?
I'm a chair.
You're a chair.
I have a lead. The committee has a wonderful liaison, Judy Korn.
Okay.
Who connects us to the resident council.
Right. And you come under Judy, and Judy is the chair of what big area of communication as such?
I'm the chair, and Judy is the liaison.
Liaison, I'm sorry, excuse me.
There we go.
Liaison.
That's fine.
Okay.
We work closely.
You work closely together, right? But as a chair, well, before I ask you that, how long have you been with us?
We've lived at Green Springs for 2 years and about 4 months now.
And so when did you get involved with committees and those kinds of things?
Well, this is my second year on the Communications Committee.
Okay.
I was a member last year. Jim Coulter was our wonderful chair. And I learned so much, like Ivan was saying, just you get a bigger picture of the entire community and how the pieces fit together, and communications being the basis of everything between management, residents, resident council, everyone. It's such a vital function that I decided to join the Communications Committee.
Very good. And how large is that committee?
Right now, it's small. I believe it's the smallest. We have 5 members now.
With your 5 members, they come from all areas of the campus?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what you meet once a month?
We meet on the second Wednesday of each month, but we also do a lot of work on computer.
Okay.
We work with, one of the functions of the committee is to interface with the communications manager and help review the flash, the wonderful newsletter, before it's issued twice a month.
Right.
We know everyone loves the flash, keeps it around. We want to be sure it's good.
Exactly.
The communications manager for general services is Ozzy Gomez. He's been here since May. If people haven't met him, I hope they will. He's a wonderful person.
He really is. Nice guy.
And he cares about what he's doing and producing a good product and communicating well. He emails us the flash twice a month.
Okay.
I'm happy to say we responded enthusiastically when they proposed the 4-page flash. Remember, all of a sudden with the refresh and the repositioning, we felt it would be beneficial to have more pages for information, photographs, updates. So everyone is informed and engaged in this exciting, long project.
That has really developed well from the initial idea of the flash and the way it's been expanded.
Yes.
And I've been delighted to watch that grow, and the importance of it is is really great now.
Well, we want to be true to the heritage of the flash, because I know a lot of people keep it by their phones.
Right.
It's got all that important information. And Ozzy has been doing a wonderful job with that. So twice a month he emails us his draft.
Okay.
And each member responds, you know, maybe this head should be that, or perhaps there's a grammatical error here, or maybe there's this, or what about that? Just proposing different options, not always necessarily grammatical. Some are layout, some for more readability. And he incorporates them, and it's very satisfying part of the committee work to see that come out twice a month.
Yes.
And know that we had a little hand in it.
Very good. And that is something that we've only had now for 2 years, maybe a little bit longer.
Something like that.
It's been since Chandra was here on game.
But another way, I've been really pleased that as we, in the committees or various things, are trying to get something written, and we're trying to figure out how to word something, then we can ask them for help.
Yes.
And you have some wonderful people that can look at a written document and say, how about trying this or wording it this way? So you've been very helpful, and I think we need to make more use of your committee in that way.
Well, thank you. Of course, we always like to have more to do. We not only work with Ozzy, we work with dining services. We do whatever anyone needs. Things come from management. Sometimes we look at things that are never issued. We were involved with the closing of the grill, the closing of Woodland Skies memos, the culinary competition, barbecue competition. Whatever comes along that people want to submit. And we want to create clarity, consistency, be sure these documents are communicating with the senior residents in the best possible way. Clarity, consistency.
Okay. Your background was in journalism or anything?
My background was in publications. I produced books, children's books, member materials for various nonprofits, including AARP. So I think once you have that orientation, you start noticing, you know, I know when I was dating my husband, he thought I was a real crashing bore with menus. But it's a wonderful place to be for people who care about how things are communicated. And we're also interested, we had the pleasure of spending 2 hours with Susan Camel from the Erickson Market Research when she came on campus to assess the communications here. She was visiting several Erickson campuses, but 9 of us, present and former communications committee members, met with her for a 2-hour lunch session, in which I think we shared everything we think about what could be better and how things are what's working and what might be more effective. And there's always the opportunity to assess how people are receiving their communications. Are cubbies the best way? Do people want text? Do people read the bullet board?
Do they have?
Yes, exactly.
But I know one thing I forgot in the in terms of the resident life, there is this publication that came out. I'm sure you had something like this. This is a beautiful job that they have summarized the essence of the documents and the different things, tell you who's on it, what do they do, how do they intercept.
That's a wonderful.
So that is really a great
It's wonderful, right.
And so if you can get your hands on that, that's another way, that's great. But appreciate your help in something like this.
Well, we're always happy to review documents. It isn't obligatory to send things to us, but a lot of management groups do. And of course the council submits and advises, and we consult with them. people on the committee are need to be computer savvy so that we can get the flash. Another thing we do for Ozzy is that he's in charge of 32 people at the front desk. We help him evaluate them every month.
Oh, okay.
If we choose to. Some of the members don't have, chose not to.
Okay.
It's a choice. I find it kind of fun to see because, of course, the front desk people are the front line of communication.
Right. Exactly.
There's so many levels of communications. But we were very excited this year to know we would be part of the refresh and repositioning and keeping documents current and residents informed so we can all participate and understand and trust this exciting process of changing our environment.
How would someone go about getting information to you that they would like to have checked for publication or dissemination?
Well, they can email it to Betty Chrisman, they can email it to me. People forward it. I know Priscilla has her network that she sends out of that office. Whoever their kind of favorite contact is, but they're more than welcome to send it to me if they would like.
Okay. Do you have a turnaround time that you can get something back?
That's a really good question. We are now known for turning things around very quickly. Sometimes the flash needs to be done overnight. Remember, they've cut back on copy center hours.
It makes a difference.
So Ozzy has to submit the flash to be copied earlier than he used to. So we are getting a good reputation for, someone will send it Monday night, say, would like it back Tuesday at noon, or could you do this by tomorrow night? Normally, when we get a document, there is a date by which they'd like a response. And then if someone is unable to respond, that's fine.
And when you're looking at that, and the fast way that information is moving around, that one of the practical things that we need from committee members and council members is just computer savvy and be able to move stuff. Otherwise, cubby holes, it's a long process.
Yes, it is.
But we normally don't write documents and we don't handle policy. We're available as a resource to improve, hopefully enhance, maybe modify documents circulating throughout the campus.
Because we, at one point in time, over the last 11 plus years that we've been here, is that people would take their cubby stuffers out and just automatically throw them in the trash can. And so then we went away totally from cubby stuffers, and people then started complaining about not knowing what was going on. And so, it's nice now. We seem to have a nice compromise in regards to the amount of cubby stuffers and the flash getting out the information now.
I know they're working very hard in communications. The big difference is usually, well, when am I paying attention and to what? So they can't always get my attention, but they try.
We have an eye on those cubbies. We do not want to overload everyone with half sheets, whole sheets, pink sheets, yellow sheets, white, blue.
There you go.
I know that the National Institute of Aging has come out with a couple of publications about how to write precisely for how to write for seniors and how to do web pages for seniors. And I understand you've got those pamphlets just recently.
Yes, Carolyn Nagler from The Villager supplied Susan Camel and the rest of the group with these documents from the National Institute on Aging. The one, as you mentioned, is on how to develop a senior-friendly website, and the other one is senior-friendly publications. It's marvelous information about typefaces for readability, type sizes, formats, the amount of information, small, to include, how to be specific, whether to use, the formatting. We're very excited.
Good.
Betty Chrisman has been distributing hard copies of this. We plan to apply it. We're talking about ways to apply it across campus and make staff and residents aware of the availability of this scientifically proven information.
Because I would really like to see some publications about the information that they share, and even if it's the summary, such as the fact of be precise, keep it short, make it easy to understand.
Right.
Use everyday language, focus on the action,
Exactly.
So, those kinds of things, as well as, keep the layout simple, build in break for the eyes, which you just don't think about, and use easy to read font.
Absolutely.
That's what these old eyes don't handle much under 14. So that makes a difference.
In fact, I get distressed when somebody sends me a font that's under 14 these days.
But it has to be bold enough too.
Yes. And the type of font that you're using, and I've never thought about the fact, because I always use Times New Roman, which is one of the
that's
recommended,
pretty reliable.
which is one of the recommended ones to use. And then they recommended Georgia, which I don't know what that one is.
I'd have to find it.
And Minion Pro, which I've also I don't know anything about.
Normally they say the typefaces with the serifs, those little lines at the top and bottom, are easier to read because you flow your eye down that line.
Exactly.
Very interesting research.
And something I've always known and I always have issues with is the fact of don't use any yellow, blue, or green backgrounds. That it's hard to read off of those in regards to it. And
especially people with macular degeneration or anything like that.
Exactly.
You want a good contrast.
Yes.
You want the contrast.
And to limit the number of points, just like you said, keep it small, keep it limited, and focus on the message. Focus on the message.
That sounds like communication.
Yes.
Yeah, especially bulletin boards or on the scroll and whatnot. Very important. Don't fill that thing up with a bunch of words.
Right. Well, so many people, especially with slides, always want to put everything on the slide.
The PowerPoint, the dreaded PowerPoint.
Well, there sounds like there's an awful lot of stuff that's going on with communication, and you've got a great handle on it and providing great leadership.
Well, it's our pleasure. It's a good committee for anyone. It's its own committee. Each committee is unique. And has a different function. And I've enjoyed participating in this, and it's a great team.
Great. Very good. Well, Sarah, thank you very much for coming this morning and talking about the Communication Committee. And Ivan, thank you, and we wish you the best in getting lots of people to sign up to run for the council.
Please, lots of people.
Okay. Thank you both.